Liverpool 0, Fulham 1. What a result for Fulham up at Anfield. 6 home defeats in a row for Liverpool. This is just unbelievable. Something we've never seen. And by that I mean literally. It's never happened in Liverpool's history. They've never gone 5 home defeats in a row. Never mind 6 like they've just got today. But before we talk about the champions and what's going on there, let's talk about the away side. Let's talk about Scott Parker and his team, because what a performance that was. The defending was incredible. Now this Liverpool is not the Liverpool that we've seen last season or even the season before that. They were lacking a lot today. There's just little creativity going forward. Salah, 2 minutes into the game, he took a dive. Smells of desperation. If someone looks desperate, they do desperate things, it's probably because they are just that desperate. But you never really got a sense of that desperation from Liverpool as the game went on. It looked comfortable for Fulham. Until the last 10 minutes, Trent Alexander-Arnold come on. Liverpool just started banging the ball in the box as much as possible. But that Fulham defence were incredible. There's a few hairy moments in there you thought they got in. Robertson with a few decent low crosses in the box. But Anderson was there, Tartan was there, knocking it behind Areola and goal was just unbelievable. What a win for Fulham. They now just equal points with Brighton, a point behind Newcastle. Okay, they played a game more, but they've got momentum, they've got confidence. At the start of this season, I wondered how is Scott Parker going to do this, because last year in the Championship they played possession-based football. They liked to play the pretty football, kept on the deck, lots of passing. But that's alright in the Championship when you're one of the best teams and you have the ball for the majority of the game. But what were they going to do in the Premier League? And at the start of the season, they struggled a lot. And I think part of that is because the start of the season overlapped with the transfer window this time around. Usually it shuts before the season gets underway, so all the transfer activity is done. But this year, Parker, he was switching from 3 at the back to 4 at the back. The centre-backs in particular were changing, and they just weren't good enough. The players he was trying to use was just not good enough. It was square pegs and round holes at times, but even when you put the square pegs and square holes, it just wasn't good enough. It looked like a Championship defence, but he got his players in. They've gelled. He's now found his best 11, you would argue. He needed one more player to that coming into the January transfer window, and that was a striker. Mitrovic just hadn't been up to it for whatever reason. They went and got Josh Maja. Now, he's not the best striker in the world, but he's the best of what was available. He was affordable. He got him in. Now, while today he didn't score, he wasn't particularly a man-of-match contender of that, but since he's come in, he's provided a few goals. His movement's been brilliant. He just fits the way that Fulham want to play. He allows Lookman to have a target man up there. Cavallo's doing well. Bobby Reid on to the right of him. Everything about this Fulham team, there's a lot to like about it. And even as the season went on, they were in the bottom 3. I always thought they'd stay up. Now, the good thing about doing these videos, there's an archive. There's evidence that I thought that they'd stay up, because what I thought at the start of the season was how they're going to play it. Well, actually, they continued to play it. They've been playing the pretty football, and they've just turned up at Anfield today and looked like the better team against the champions. The first time Klopp's lost to a newly promoted side. This is now the 6th season or something like that, and he's never lost to a newly promoted side until today. That's no surprise, because he's in charge. He's a Liverpool manager, isn't he? That's no surprise. But Liverpool deserved that win today. They were brilliant in the first half. They were taking the game to Liverpool. There was no fear about them. Aside third bottom. Earlier today we watched West Brom take on Newcastle. 2 sides riddled with fear. Neither of them wanted to make a mistake. Too scared to attack each other. Third bottom playing fourth bottom. Second bottom and fourth bottom. They didn't want to go at each other. They were too scared to lose the game. Fulham just went to Anfield. I say took the gloves off. They took the gloves on and said, let's have a boxing match here. And they exploited Liverpool's weakness at right back time and time again. They got in behind, and it was only a matter of time until they got the goal. And fantastic goal it was by Lamina. But as I said, the way Fulham have been playing football, Parker's a bit like what Bielsa's done at Leeds. Parker's stuck to his philosophy. He doesn't want to play this unattractive style of football. They have been grinding out results when they've needed to, but they've done it with a good style about them, with a little bit of their ethos, what they want to do, what their culture, they want to play football. Sometimes you look at clubs and you wonder what their sort of a playing identity is. Fulham's is obvious for anyone to see, and they've gone to Anfield today, and they've stuck to that, and they've done it well, and they are going to stay up this season. Newcastle, Brighton, one of them is going to drop into that bottom 3 alongside West Brom and Sheffield United. One of them are in trouble. They'll be looking over their shoulders right now. worrying, and so they should. But Liverpool, what is going on there? 6 defeats on the bench. Now, they shouldn't get rid of Klopp. I don't think they should sack Klopp. There'll be a lot of people suggesting that Klopp needs to go. I think that's far from the case. The moment they lost Van Dijk, their season was always going to be difficult because they've just lost the player of the years. They're arguably the best player in the Premier League, certainly the best centre-back in the Premier League. The guy that's pivotal to your whole sort of back 6-7 working. Plus, you can't take, not just his defensive actions, but you can't take away Van Dijk's attacking contributions as well, whether that's from heading set pieces or, more importantly, in my opinion, the long balls he used to provide for Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson. You know, if I'm a centre-back area, the way he would fire it 40 yards out to a full-back and turn Liverpool from defence to attack just with that one pass, they don't have that anymore. You know, the team they put out today, Klopp's got it wrong, but Klopp will know he's got it wrong. There's far too many changes, too weak. It's not so much disrespect to Fulham. I don't think it's a case of that. That team a year ago might have won that kind of game. They've just lost that, whatever it was they had. A year ago, 2 years ago, they were winning games with a variety. They could grind out 1-0, they could score long-range efforts. You always just felt, even at 0-0, 5 minutes ago, you always felt Liverpool were going to win it somehow. You just don't have that about them anymore. Teams are going to Anfield. The fear factor's gone from there completely. No one is afraid of Liverpool. You know, my team, West Ham, got beat by Liverpool Coventry a few weeks ago at the London Stadium 3-0. And since then, I've watched Liverpool often. I'm just furious. You get even more angry at how we approached that game, because we didn't do what Fulham did today. We sat back and gave Liverpool far too much respect and treated them like they were the champions of England, which they are. But Fulham didn't treat them like that. Burnley didn't treat them like that. And they're picking up points. There's a lot of pressure on Klopp right now. I think, you know, it's going to be tough for them to get into the top 4 of the Premier League, which is astounding. Something else I predicted, might I add, a few weeks ago. Again, the evidence there. But listen, while I'm bigging up my Fulham and Liverpool predictions, I got a few badly wrong, like Tottenham coming runner-up in the Premier League. I got that massively wrong. But it's no surprise is what I'm trying to say. Fulham or Liverpool. Liverpool have just been lacking something all season. It could be the Van Dijk injury, but their big players just haven't turned up for them. They're missing the likes of Jordan Henderson and that. But you watch today, 2 minutes in and Salah went to the ground like that. That's not something you want to see associated with a player who is world class, who has the ability. He doesn't need to cheat. He's good enough to win games on his own. He's good enough to score plenty of goals. He's top goal scorer in the Premier League for a reason. But when you see it, you just get a bit... It just, like I said, desperation is the word. And it feels like that is setting in at Liverpool already. I know Klopp's had a tough time personally, but even today, 1-0 down against Fulham, and the camera kept going to him. He looked calm, and that's not something you usually associate with him. Usually he's extremely animated and the like. He looks wound up, and he didn't even have that about him today. He just looked like almost accepting of the defeat with half an hour to go, and it was only 1-0. He didn't look... He was just lacking his mojo or something. But like I said, I'm aware he has had a difficult time. But I don't think getting rid of Klopp's the answer. I think Liverpool now need to really focus on the Champions League. And I think there was a little bit of that today about their lineup, their starting 11 from Liverpool. I think perhaps he knows, you know, they beat Leipzig in the first leg of the Champions League. They've got 1 foot in the next round of the Champions League. They can still have what is a reasonably successful season away from the domestic side of the football. The domestic game, the Premier League's done for Liverpool, and I'm not talking about title, I'm talking about top 4. I can't see them getting into the top 4 this season, which, you know, was a shock. It's the worst defence of a Premier League title ever, I think, really. But the Champions League is still there to be won for Liverpool, because on their day, they can compete with anyone. They can be a world-class team. They've got world-class players. Winning that Champions League was sort of what you miss out on in the top 4 is Champions League football next season. Winning the Champions League gives you that, but it also gives you a trophy. And like I said, it becomes a relatively successful season. It maybe sort of plasters over the cracks at Anfield that's starting to appear, but you'll take that. It's better than just letting the cracks get bigger and bigger. Doing something about it is better than doing nothing at all, and I think winning the Champions League will do that. They've got to put all their eggs in one basket now and go after that title, that European success. But today, Anfield, Liverpool 0, Fulham won. What a win for Fulham. And this will really give them confidence. And like I said, that's a bad result. Not just for Klopp, but it's a bad result for Allardyce, for Steve Bruce, and Graham Potter as well. Those three managers will be looking at that result and that game today, think. And I'll tell you something, if I was a Newcastle fan or a West Brom fan after watching what I saw earlier in the lunchtime kickoff today, 0-0, no cards, and what is a 6-pointer down the bottom, then they have to sit down and watch Fulham turn up at Anfield, play like that, get the win, a deserved win as well. Fulham deserve to stay up. The two that we saw earlier today in West Brom and Newcastle, they deserve to go down for that performance. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it, and I will be back tomorrow with a hybrid. I'm taking a look at the Chelsea-Everton game and the West Ham Leeds game. Catch you in a bit.